Hello and welcome back. So I have another Subaru in the garage today. Here getting a nice rally livery installed. So this is Tracy's VB WRX, and I have designed a Subaru rally livery around this car. It should also fit other Subarus as well. I've gone ahead and printed it on a nice gloss black wrap vinyl. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the product page, and I have added this to my website as well if you're interested in doing so on your own car. Very excited for this project. It's all printed on nice wrap vinyl, so it'll be nice and easy to install. And yeah, I'll include a link downstairs below on where you can purchase your own rally livery as well. And I'm also going to include Tracy's Instagram page if you would like to see how this car turns out in the end as well. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first step in installing this livery, of course, is mocking it up on the car. So I've gone ahead and do so. And basically, the mock-up you find on the website is almost spot on to how you'll line it with the car. So I'll usually just take a printout of literally the product image on the website and use that to kind of finagle it and line it up the way it needs to be. So I've gone ahead and did that here. Also, I've already gone ahead and installed the passenger side, just so I know if there's anything I'm going to come across. So I believe I designed this around my GD WRX, my older bug-eye, an image where the side mirror is kind of more attached to the window-ish, whereas on the newer models it's attached to the door, which kind of complicated things right about here. So basically all I had to do was take a little cutout here and just make a provision to wrap around this mirror. And there's also a little bit of gap on these newer ones. I was just able to tuck it under. Weird? I don't know. I don't want to call it shoddy, but interesting. So I've got into that. And the other thing that I had designed this livery around was the top of the Rally Star to be tucked under the door handle. Came out freaking amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this side as well and show you exactly what the next steps are to install this. Let's come a little closer, shall we? All right. So one additional thing I wanted to mention before peeling back the backing paper and installing the livery is make sure your surface is nice and clean. One issue that I did encounter on the passenger side was all along the plastic trim here on the bottom, they used either tire shine or a back to black sort of polish. When wrapping a vehicle, make sure you're not using any polish, any cleaners of that sort, waxes, whatever. Vinyl will not stick. So I damn near had an issue in the back corner, wrapping the back piece around the bottom as it just wouldn't stick. So I had to clean it a couple more times and I was able to get that just right. But I've gone ahead and cleaned off any of the slickness that might cause an issue here. And I think we're all ready to go. So with this livery, I found it easiest to install from the bottom up to the top due to the placement of the mirror here. And I just found that working my way up was just a little bit easier that way. So basically I'm going to get most of the livery stuck and then work on the trim pieces and trimming that last. So I'll kind of just leave it not applied just yet. So let's go ahead and pull back the backing, and basically we'll trim it with our nice sharp blade. Make sure you have a nice sharp blade, it's all trimmed and all that fun stuff, because it is no fun working with a dull blade. Fair enough. So I like to pull this up, and I basically just tacked it using the adhesive of the application tape and stuck it up a little bit higher. But so I get it about to the halfway point. I did notice there were a few wrinkles in the application tape on this. Added for a little more difficulty, unfortunately, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad, and it all came out in the end, which is nice. So kind of got this a little bit up. And I'll just stick it with the application tape to the bottom of the mirror. Not bad. Okay. And go ahead and trim the backing paper, making sure it is far enough away from the car that you are not going to cut the wrap or the paint. We don't want that. You don't want that juju. All right, got that off. And pull this down. And we're just going to start from the line. So I guess it's not working its way down. Ooh, that guy really wants to hit the ground. So make sure that now your vinyl hits your dirty ground, or you're going to have a bunch of dirt in your vinyl. You don't want that either. So I'm going to go ahead and tack it along where would cut that paper. So I guess you're not working your way up. I don't really like if I work my way up, I guess. It's more working your way down. It's a lot easier, I want to say. And so this is a bigger piece, but since it's all nice wrap vinyl, it installs real easily. I like it. Yeah. Giving it plenty of leeway here. Working your way to that fender trim. Looks like that is. It really doesn't matter what it looks like over there too much. Okay, so that just hit the door line and not the trim. Almost there. Almost there. So I might just leave that be. Once I take off the tape, it'll be easier to work with that vinyl a bit. Coming down one more level. I really should have just put the car up on quick jacks and made it a little bit easier. I don't have to sit all crisscross applesauce on the floor, but that's okay. All right. So go ahead and hell, even just use my hand even. Not too much of a difference. I got a few more bubbles here coming up in the application tape, and I will also work that out once I remove the tape. So I believe this is the point before where I started removing the application tape to get to the end. As I have a bit lower on this side than I did on the other side, I just want to make sure that's not going to be an issue. No, we're okay there. Okay. So I'm going to leave that until I take off the application tape, and it'll be easier to work with just the raw vinyl itself. The reason for the tape being on this, it prevents scratches. And even so, like once you're using a squeegee on the raw vinyl, like this in particular has lamination, but if you apply a bit of heat to the laminate, it'll actually heal any scratches like that. So not too bad. But you don't want a bunch of scratches. That's not going to look good. You know what I'm saying? So, there. Move all your tape. And I'm going to take off the rest of the backing paper. Make sure all the shit gets out of the way. Cool. Oop. It rips. That's okay. Back to one piece. Yes. I see it's got a little bit wrinkle at the top. I've been banged around a bit, but that will all come out just fine. I imagine if I'm shipping this livery to you, that might occur just on the edges, which it happens. And luckily, this is all nice wrap vinyl, and all things are healed with a bit of heat. It's really handy. Yeah. I know I was shipping out some of those Honda Motor Compactos scooter graphics that I make. And I had one customer who just didn't realize that, you know, with a bit of heat, any issue would come out. Which, I mean, hell, if it's damaged in shipping, it's perfectly fine. Like, I can either refund it or reprint it or whatever. And I believe I ended up having to do that. I had them shipped back, and it was, again, perfectly fine. So this is where I was coming across, where you're hitting your mirror. Like, I want to make a provision for this, like, in a cut file so I could send it to you without that, but I would have I wouldn't really know where to put the provision, in all honesty. So I'm just going to do my best to kind of walk you through what to do here, like, where to make a cut and how to not mess things up. So Go and get your blade. I'll stop sitting on the dang ground. All right. And I'm going to start by cutting it a bit more on the top here. And up. With that provision, I should be able to wrap around pretty decently here. And I'll make it perfect once the application tape is gone. But yeah, I think that's a good point to take off the tape now. What do you think? All right. Looks like this one came a bit of extra piece here. I did have one small, I don't want to say rip, because it wasn't quite a rip, but I did have one little small part there when I was handling this, and I was in fact able to heal it. Perfect. Whew. It's not what I want. All right. Yeah, one thing I like to do in my videos is show my mess ups and how to fix things if something doesn't go right, which sometimes that happens, you know, and you know, if it's your first time installing a vinyl like this, I want you to know what to do so that you're not left having to do another one. Huh, looks like I had quite a bit of from that bubble there, so I might have to pull this back up a bit. And like I said, all wrap vinyl shouldn't be too much of a worry. So, just pulling it back up a bit, not being too hard with it. If you end up stretching it too much, again, you can just heal it with heat. And that should do it. Yeah, I should give you a little close-up of that. It looks like this stretched a bit as well. So, I'm just going to give it just a pinch of heat here, and that'll heal that. Nice. Yeah, and that took all that out. And with the paper here, I might just go ahead and wrap it under this mirror. Instance there. I'll give it a little heat. Okay. Just a bit, not too much. Don't want to overheat it. Okay. Cool. Cool. I might just go ahead and remove the rest of the application tape here. Yes. Very nice. Yep. So at this point, it's just like working with raw wrap vinyl. I know the application tape can sometimes throw some people off, including myself. That's okay. I'll just go ahead and wrap this up. So just like wrap vinyl, stretch it just a hair. Yeah, none of that. Why don't you come a little closer? I want you to see some of this. Yeah? Alright, so as you can see, with it off, it does want to like wrinkle up a bit, but make sure you actually have a shot in the shot. There we go. Now it's coming out nicely. Just bring that up as well. And of course I would have one little crease right there, wouldn't you know it? And it's gone. Alright. Cool. Have a little spot there. Not bad. Let's move you to the other side. Alright. Now finishing up on the mirror here. Just gonna go ahead and wrap that up into the door seal, window seal. This is coming along okay. Yeah, right up into that point. And so basically what I'm going to do is drag a knife along the bottom side of this once I get it as close as possible to the mirror. Do a little relief cut here to allow that to get into place a little better. Pull out some of that fucking tension. There we go. Yes. Alright. So I have that wrapping a bit underneath. So basically all I did was make that perforation cut before I even started sticking it this far in. Giggity. Alright. So, like I said, there's a small gap underneath the mirror. If you really want to get technical with the right way to do this, take off your mirror. That's going to be a whole nother monster. I'm sure taking apart off your door cards and all that fun stuff. But this should do just fine as well. I don't see this pulling out since I am in fact able to get it under the mirror. Yeah. Alright. That cut, peel off. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it under. It's interesting. I mean, there's like a solid 1 millimeter gap here, which is kind of weird. So I tried to tuck it underneath the weather sealing of the window as well. It did not want to do that at all. I did a bit better under the corner here so that it wouldn't pull up, and I just simply cut it along the edge for the rest. But I'm going to go upward under the seal as lightly as I possibly can so that I'm not cutting paint and I'm not cutting the seal. Just one continuous motion there. Rip, rip, nice. That's good. I'm definitely gonna go ahead and apply some heat to that so we can seal that up a little bit better. That's a good spot there. That's real nice. All right. Apply that heat. Hand it in heat gun. And like I was saying before, there's a bit of scratches that came from using the squeegee on the raw vinyl, but the heat heals it right up. Yeah. Cool. And I'll continue removing the application tape. Just pulling down. I see this top end didn't want to quite come to the edge. I think there's a bit of tension there. That is quite all right. And like I said before, we left this bottom corner here undone as well. I see there are a couple more bubbles here as well. On the other side, I was able to simply apply some heat and work those out because this is the miracle of wrap vinyl. Heck yeah, not bad. Alright, I'm gonna work that down. Down, down, down. And once all is said and done, I'm going to go ahead and open up the door and wrap that around under the bottom side. Nice. I'll work out these little bubbles here. There. And scratches high up there are just healing, 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 healing. So nice. Heck yeah. Dig it. Dig it, dig it, dig it. Alright. I'm just going to smooth that away, not too hard. Last thing I want here is a crease. Don't want creases, but there is basically a what is called rapid air release perforation on the back of the vinyl. Kind of looks just like a small grid, and that allows any air to escape. Hey. Yeah, super cool. That's it. All that is all gone. It's super nice. Heck yeah. Alright. Work the door line in a bit, as well as this extra portion here. I'm just going to work it to the edge. Nice. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and trim. This guy doesn't really want to cooperate. I'm going to cut that down, release some of the tension there. Yeah. Very nice. I'll do the same with the bottoms that also had a bit of tension. Very cool. So, I'm just going to run this. And again, the proper way to do this would be to take off your fender flares. But this was work as well. It's a quicker method. Okay. This is not a sharp blade. So, go ahead and just clip off on your blade. So, I usually use my handy dandy Spinnywhoosh ones, but I happen to have some nice yellow ones here I want to use for today. But the metal ends simply break off these blades in case you've never messed with a flip-off blade. I don't know. Some people haven't. So, that is a sharp blade. Sharp blades and vinyl, buddy, they just go hand in hand. If you have a dull blade, you're gonna have a bad time. That's just how it is. Yeah, so I was gently running it along, basically more so the plastic, because I didn't want to cut the wrap. And we'll just get it in. Nice. Heck yeah. Alright. Also the next period here. Here's why I like these fatty blades here, because you can kind of just put it in between the door line here, and you'll be running it along the plastic along the door rather than putting your blade against the side. So it kind of centers the blade. I really like these blades, honestly. So I'm going to start from up here, make sure it's center. And the plastic of the blade is also pressing against the vinyl along the door as well. And it is a nice centered cut. Yeah, that's how it's done. Alright, heat that up a bit. Activate the adhesive. Then take your handy dandy Spinnywhoosh squeegee. Yeah. And go ahead and wrap that down. I like to do it at an angle so you're not just hitting it head on. Yeah, first pass, I'm going to do the fender side, pressing it towards the fender. Yep, and I'm going to do the door side as well. Nice. Alright, that is your main swoosh. That is the hardest part. You are done with the hardest part. Congratulations. So, next up, I realized that cutting the stars here, and that will allow it to sit underneath the door handle of how we're going to be lining it up. So, come a little closer. Yeah, let's see how this camera is set up. Okay. So, it was easier doing this off the car. Also, I was going to work my way from top to bottom, and I ended up doing a hinge method, and I worked my way from left to right instead. But let's go ahead and keep this on. Go ahead and make a nice clean cut here. Pull it off the car a bit so that you are not going to cut your door handle or anything like that. And just like that. Yeah. Go ahead and do the other side. Cut upward just because it's a lot easier of how I have this set. And yeah, just like so. So Yeah, not bad. This I had a really easy time on the other side, so we'll see if I have an easy time on this side as well. It's never easy. Especially not when I say that, you know? Alright, so visually lining this up, the whole car's lines are kind of at an angle, so I try and line it up with the ground. And if I really want to get technical with it, I could bust out the tape measurer and actually measure from tip to the ground, since this should just be horizontal. But I like to eyeball shit. I'm telling you, like, I swear I'm not just half-assing it. Like, I've always just done it easier with eyeballing it. I don't know why, but it comes out that way. So, you go ahead and do the hinge method along the back door. Giggity, I guess. And put that down there. Okay. And that's already holding that side in place, so yeah. So, taking off the backing at this point, I went ahead and did a squeegee once the backing paper is removed. Just straight across, and I did the bottom, and then I worked my way up after taking off the application tape, because it is just easier working your way up with that vinyl. The crevice in there can be a little difficult, so I'll show you how to kind of work it into that groove in that door cup. Let's do it. I don't need tape here. I don't need tape down here. Okay. See, that paper wants to be a pain in the butt. That's okay. Just gonna start along from a different edge there. And I'm gonna use the application tape to hold itself. And I'm gonna trust it's not gonna fall. Probably gonna fall. Just because I said that. Okay. Pulling this as far along the edge. And one additional thing here. With cutting an edge, and why I say to use a very sharp blade, is you do not want to have a dull cut, and you don't want to rip it. And the reason being, if those paper particles are hitting the back of your vinyl here, they'll stay. They ain't going nowhere, and they will show through. So, nice clean cut. Yeah, baby. There we go. I know it seems like this is smallest little things, but I do want to mention these for any beginners doing this that's not installed a Livery before. I know you're out there. I was one of them. So, grab your hand down and Spinnywhoosh squeegee. Yep. I do include these squeegee packages as an add-on for the Livery product, if you wanted to have a nice hand-based squeegee. Otherwise, yeah, on your own. No, I'm just kidding. Credit card will work as well. Not as well, but you know. Okay, enough dicking around. On to the fun part here. I'm gonna go ahead and just pull this off. Heck yeah, so I got a couple bubbles here. Come a little closer, I'll show you my bubbles, show you the door cup. Let's do this thing. Still hear me? Yep. Alright, the fun part, and what I thought was the coolest part of this Livery, it was just such a small little detail that I added in, but like putting it in this position with the tip of the star underneath the door cup allowed me to position, or help position, the Livery exactly where it needed to be. Simple as that. So, working with raw vinyl, I'm going to try and keep my hands out of the shot, but I'm simply going to use my fingers, and at some point I like to lick my finger, not to be weird, but to allow it to glide over the surface as well. A wrap glove would also work just fine in this instance, but just a little lube, you know, just lick it in there, and well, I'm not going to continue on with that sentence, but oh heck, dude, this went a lot easier than the passenger side. So I go ahead, pull it up and over, and this is where it wanted to start like creasing up under there. And I'm gonna see if it does it again, which it probably won't. How about that? A little bit better angle. So I'm just gonna keep on working. I'm gonna lick my finger. And I'll provide, yeah, it does want to do it again. So this was an interesting spot. And I feel like I just went ahead and I went upwards with it, finished applying that. No, that wasn't up. So like it wants to crinkle up. And I believe I used a bit of heat there as well. So this is where it becomes a little more intermediate on the difficulty. But hopefully this video helps you to show you how it'll work its way through. Yeah, see, I just pulled it, and when it wanted to cause a little bit of tension, it wanted to wrinkle up, I gave it a little tug, I gave it a little bit of tension, and it just came right up, nice and smooth, no crinkles, no bullshit. Y'all saw it, and it's good to go, baby. Awesome. I love that little spot. All right, so let's continue on with the rest of the livery. I've already gotten the rest of this star applied, so I'll just rip off the tape. I'm gonna leave some on, of course, because, well, basically this hinge here isn't needed. Once it's all applied with the application tape, it will act as the rest of the hinge. It's like that all line just spot on as well. That's not too low. Like, that was a great spot to put this that helps you to align this livery, hands down. And I'm glad I included that. So, not to toot my own horn, but I am the best. Alright. Pull it off. Pull it off. And pull off the rest of the tape. I just went ahead and applied quite a bit of tension to that, and I'm just going to work my way down. I'm going to pull this back up. Yeah. And so the only spots that really need like attention, so like you could do all of the application tape here, but it isn't necessary. All you really need to do are apply the stars. Old starry-eyed surprise. What's that even mean? Alright, so got this star. Make sure you get the tip. Always get the tip. Okay, point down, over, get the rest of this star. Now, I want to make sure that how I have it right now, it's not going to bunch up in the middle. So I'm going to go from top down. Yeah, yes. Oh, I had a little bit of a crease there. It's all right. Everything's fine. I kind of want to pull off the rest of that star too, just because of how I did this. So that was a bit of a mess up on my hat part, but I'm going to keep an eye out on that one real quick. I'll probably pull it back up. I didn't want it to leave a crease. See, this needs to be applied. I just use my hand, like it'll apply just fine. Once you add the heat to it all, oh baby. So I got lost in thought on that one. That just looks so nice. Yeah, see, I didn't want, since I had that one tip there not applied, I'm just going to lift it up from there, lift up that tip, and I don't think it would need heat. No, I'm just going to apply a little tension on that, squeeze your on over. Yes, yes, oh god, yes, that's, whew. That was good. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and cut the door line here, same method. I'll make sure it's right in the center. And make sure it's not too deep either, or else I'm going to be cutting the inside of the door. I don't want to cut more paint. Don't do that. That's it. Yeah, so I want to go ahead and open up this door, and like I said before, I want to wrap that underneath the car, and I can go ahead and wrap this around the door line as well, and on the back of the door. Perfect. All right, now this guy, I wanted to bring that up just a bit, since it kind of, yeah, yes. Alright, you go right about there. Yeah. It's a bit much. I feel like it was a bit lower than I did on the other side, but so I might go ahead and just trim it a hair. It doesn't need to be anything neat. It's just gonna be on the back side of the door. Yeah, that should be good. Go ahead and cut this off as well. Yep. Okay. Got one left bubble there. Make sure you don't have any bubbles, and you can work them out as you go along. I thought there was something going on there, but awesome. So before I apply the final bit of heat, I'm just going to go ahead and give it one last blast with my glass cleaner. Okay. And so I use this spray away. Doesn't have any waxes or anything like that. Just like so. And that's good. Right on. And clean it inside the cup, the top. Give it a good wipe down, yeah. Oh, now I done it. So I left the keys in the car and I keep on hitting this door handle. Oh, there we are. Yep, that's nice. Super happy with how this came out. All right, so one last bit of heat here. So I see I have a couple little lines here. I believe that was where the application tape is just running my finger across. Like my fingers are a little rougher than earlier. I saw it left a little bit of a smidgen there. So trying to see if this will pick up. It won't. Yeah, so you see those extra little lines there? That was just from, I'm not even sure, honestly. But this should take away that bit. There's that, okay. Alright, so one additional bit that I have with this livery. Basically, there's a couple pieces that I use that will basically continue the swoosh up onto the top. I have a piece that'll go right here, and I have a piece that'll also go up here that will continue that Subaru Rally swoosh. So, something like this. Yes, this is correct side. Awesome. I'm going to try and line up with where this needs to be visually for following that swoosh. So I haven't done the other side of this yet. So this will be my first trial for trying to find the correct positioning of this. I want to make that nice and clean. There are tons of fingerprints there. Got those all off. Awesome. Cool. And I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of tape on the top of this, in order to best place this piece. So I want to say, it's like basically you're following this line somewhere right around there. Yeah, it's a nice little bit. And yeah, this door trim pillar is also more of a matte finish. I think this should work fine. And one additional piece as well is following all the way to the back. Dang. All right. This is working nice. I want to make sure it wraps all the way onto there as well. Might do a vertical piece of tape there. Yeah. I might have to. No, I wouldn't be able to stretch it. Okay. In the future, I might make this a bit bigger because it's barely fitting on the sides there, but I might make this a bit higher. Just to follow that line. Yeah, okay. This need to be a bit higher, so it's just all kind of eyeballing it. Yeah, that's nice. So here we go, toot my own horn again. All right. I might stand back just a bit further to tell, but it's a good spot. And this should line up pretty well as well. I'll definitely be making this piece just a bit longer for the installer to play with, but that should do it. All right, let's go ahead. An additional dry install with these. Nope, just right down the middle. I go ahead and hit the sides. And this was cut spot on. So like I literally just used a 2-scale mock-up to render this. And yeah, that was nice. Okay, so this is even a shorter cut that I need to do here to not hit that plastic liner. But it does need to go through the middle. That was a clean cut. Yeah. All right. And pulling off the application tape. Yeah. I like how even this, like it's not exactly matte, but it definitely has that nice contrast they were going for with this gloss vinyl. I could just tuck this right in there. Very nice. There's no tucking that, is there? No, so that's all part of it all. Well, no, I might just trim that a little bit closer there. It doesn't look like I was able to put in a bit. Even my fingernail just cut it a hair, but yeah, I might just run my blade through there ever so slightly. Yeah, just gonna give that a solid trim. Onto the driver's door, that will tuck around just fine. I'll have to tuck in there a bit. Nice. Alright, that should definitely do it. Very clean. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and do this back piece here. That was real close, honestly. Huh, how much of a trunk lid? Okay. And then the squeegee. Oh, fuck me. Okay. Yep. And the back half. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezies. Pull this all off. Very nice. Very nice. I didn't apply it completely onto the back just yet. I want to play with it a bit, as I do. Okay. Wrapping it up. I might go ahead and give this a trim too. Looks like there's a window seal I can go onto, but there's no tucking that under. Cool. And a trim. Oh, maybe you could. There's a pretty nice, not ancient seal like my car. God, dude. Window seals on 20-year-old cars are always fun. Yeah. All right, so that should do it for this video. I think this came out so slick. Yeah, when they were saying they wanted to do gloss over a matte finish, yeah, I'm all for that contrast, and this came out real clean. So let me know what you think. Is this something you'd be interested in? Was it a pain in the butt? Looks kind of easy. Yeah. Yeah, if you'd like to see more projects like this, my vinyl installs or projects on my own Subaru, definitely like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It helps this channel immensely, and it really keeps me going. Yeah, I got a couple more things I want to do on this car, and that'll be a wrap. So, my name's Scott. I run Spinnywhoosh. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.